This video is a definitive guide to becoming a mortgage advisor, from explaining what the role includes to gaining the right qualifications and the interview process. The sections of the video will appear on screen now so you can see each part of the video, but we do recommend that you watch from start to finish so you gain the best understanding possible. Firstly, let's start with some context. What do mortgage advisors do? Mortgage advisors help clients find the best mortgage deal for purchasing their homes. For many, it will be the first time, so you will assist them throughout the process. They will build relationships with various clients and learn about their circumstances to provide them with the most appropriate product. The earnings for these roles can vary depending on whether a mortgage advisor earns a salary or is on a self-employed commission-only basis. For an example, an average mortgage advisor salary will range from £25,000 to £35,000 a year without commission. Commonly, we see that the mortgage advisors will be contracted to work between 35 and 40 hours a week. We say contracted because many individuals, especially those who are self-employed, will usually surpass this number, especially in the early stages where they have to work harder to build up a pipeline of business. Alongside this, it is also common to work at least one day on the weekend to meet the needs of their clients. Some lists of duties include undertaking client meetings, undertaking mortgage affordability checks, researching the most appropriate mortgage products, obtaining proof of income and credit checks, advising clients on the most appropriate options for them, obtaining agreement in principles, processing mortgage cases, chasing providers and lenders, liaising with your team and support staff if applicable, and cross-selling protection. This is a role that can open up a huge range of potential benefits, including uncapped earning potential, flexible working, option to become self-employed, rewarding work, and it is cheaper to enter than other careers. There are many different types of mortgage advice and mortgage advisor jobs. So some examples are a trainee mortgage advisor, which is an entry-level job that follows the standard duties of a mortgage advisor, just at a slower pace, with all work overseen and checked. You can often start as a trainee mortgage advisor whilst you obtain your qualifications in CAS. Senior mortgage advisors conduct the standard duties of a mortgage advisor, plus are the go-to person for unusual and high-profile cases. Mortgage and protection advisor again will cover the standard duties of a mortgage advisor, plus required to sell protection. Mortgage managers will usually be responsible for a team of mortgage advisors. New build mortgage advisors provide mortgage advice specifically on new build properties. Whole of market mortgage advisors can access a significant range of different lenders to source the most appropriate product available to them. And finally, tied and multi-tied mortgage advisors who are either tied directly to one lender or a group of lenders and therefore are limited to the mortgages that they can recommend. Any of these different roles can enable people to become employed as well as self-employed. So what are the positives of being employed? You have a guaranteed level of income per month, you aren't responsible for calculating your own tax, and you have the benefit of holiday and statutory sick pay. However, it does have some potential downsides. It leaves yourself open for potential micromanagement, and there is potential lack of job security. So what about being self-employed? You have greater control on how much you earn, as your potential income is unlimited and based on the effort you put in. You have flexibility of your own schedule as long as it fits with your client's needs, and you can reduce your everyday costs and expenses. Some disadvantages that need noting are no holiday pay or sick pay, potential limitations on getting a mortgage whilst you build a consistent proof of income. You need to look at your personal risk tolerance and personal circumstance before making this decision on whether to go employed or self-employed. One aspect that will be impacted by making this decision are leads, which if you're unaware is just a way of saying sales prospects. Some roles will provide you with a regular flow of leads where you'll be required to do little to no work when it comes to generating leads. These leads may be cold, warm or hot, but regardless you'll have to convert. Alternatively, self-generation will be required in some roles, which is usually done through a variety of means, including but not limited to social media, introducers such as estate agencies, accountants, financial advisors or solicitors, networking events, professional groups, referrals, reviews or testimonials, and marketing initiatives. Just to be clear, being self-employed doesn't mean you have to self-generate everything. There are a wide number of self-employed mortgage advisor roles out there that will provide you with leads, so you do need to look at each role with its own merit. Now getting into the job, what qualifications will you need to become a mortgage advisor? In the UK, to provide mortgage advice, you must have a qualification recognised by the Financial Conduct Authority, also known as the FCA. If you don't have a recognised qualification, you'll be unable to provide regulated mortgage advice in the UK. Although there are many mortgage qualifications, the two main ones are CeMAP and the Certificate in Mortgage Advice, which are recognised as industry standards and come from the two main FS qualification providers, the London Institute of Banking and Finance, known as the LIBF, and the Chartered Insurance Institute, known as the CII. These providers have an array of qualifications covering mortgage advice, financial advice, power planning and more, which we've covered most on our blog and YouTube channel, and we'll be sure to reference any relevant in-depth content in the description box below. Firstly, let's go over CeMAP, which is a Certificate in Mortgage Advice and Practice. An industry standard qualification for mortgage advisors and is awarded by the LIBF. CeMAP is broken down into 3 units commonly known as CeMAP 1, CeMAP 2 and CeMAP 3. We've covered CeMAP extensively many times, so for more in-depth detail on this qualification, click the link on the screen now. The other is the Certificate in Mortgage Advice, a level 3 qualification provided by the CII. To meet the FCA's qualification requirements, you will also need to typically obtain CF1 as well. Upon completion of both exams, it allows CII members to provide professional mortgage advice in the UK and also to use a CERT CII MP designation in their name. Again, we have covered this qualification heavily, so for a full in-depth comparison of the two qualifications, check out our YouTube video or blog for more information on this topic. The revision of either of these certificates is very similar, as they both use multiple choice questions as the main assessment method. Therefore, your revision should be catered around this. Some suggestions from us to revise are flashcards, recording yourself reading the content, and then using practice questions to test yourself. Beyond the qualification, what makes a good mortgage advisor? Mortgage advisors must have a certain set of skills to succeed in their role. We have recently covered some core competencies over on our Guide to Competency-Based Interviews blog. Some examples are integrity. As a mortgage advisor, you have to demonstrate integrity when looking for the most appropriate deal for your clients. Managing relationships. You'll have to effectively manage several relationships simultaneously. If you don't, your clients will be dissatisfied, making business harder to come by. Determination. Some individuals can have a frustrating job at times, chasing clients, lenders and back office staff. You must remain determined to get the job done at a high standard. These competencies will come naturally to many people, but they can also be developed through personal development. Lots of people will have some example, even if it's not work related, of how they've demonstrated these qualities in wider life. Think hard about when you've demonstrated these and jot some examples down ahead of your interview. But more on this later. Another important aspect for mortgage advisor jobs will stress the importance of targeted sales experience, because mortgage advice heavily relies on individuals having a good set of sales skills, as you need to focus on upselling the benefits of your advice to the client. Some examples of the industries include mobile phone sales, car sales, recruitment, estate agency, insurance, energy sales and home improvement sales. Although experience in a role like this is not always essential, it will massively help if you can find an example of where and how you've used this in previous jobs. When it comes to applying to jobs, you first need to write a quality CV, which is one of the most challenging aspects at the start of job hunting. It should contain contact information, a personal statement, experience, education, personal qualifications, skills, hobbies, additional languages and volunteer work you may have participated in. A CV is a great screening tool to assess if you have the desired qualifications. For mortgage advisors, this could be CeMAP or a Certificate in Mortgage Advice. It may be a good idea to ensure your qualifications are located near the top of your CV to ensure you get over the first hurdle straight away. Also, remember it's marketing. Think of your CV as an advertisement of your skills and attributes you can bring to a new organisation? What are your personal USPs? What makes you stand out from your peers? It might be cliche, but put yourself in the shoes of the business you're applying to and ask yourself the questions you think they would be asking, and then ensure your answers are included and clear within your CV. It may be a good idea to add a core competency section to display your key skills. For example, I consistently hit my targets, and then give context. If you're a trainee, think of a time you've directly displayed sales, or where you've displayed one of the previously discussed core competencies. In conjunction with qualifications, arguably the most important thing to include on a financial services CV is your experience. As mentioned, trainee or junior roles may allow little to no experience. However, even in these roles, it is important to show that you have some form of initiative, whether this is through work experience or a more formalised internship. This can be beneficial for highlighting your experience. Alongside your CV should be a covering letter, which can seem like a long process. However, you can create a template to assist each job application by using an initial skeleton copy and then tailoring specifically to each vacancy you apply for. To boost your letter, undertake research and discuss some of the aspects of the company that appeal to you and explain why. LinkedIn can also be a great way to display the companies you've worked for and give an opportunity to display public references from previous employers. Furthermore, your education can be displayed with grades and the name of the institution, much in the same way as your CV, and also skills and endorsements that your LinkedIn connections could choose to give you. Once you've written your CV and covering letter, there are different points you can choose to apply for roles. Let's start with trainee and mortgage advisors. These roles can vary in requirements, but commonly we see that companies want at least CeMAP 1 and often some level of sales experience. People commonly enter these roles straight out of university, and many companies will look for degree educated or degree calibre, hungry and ambitious individuals who are able to use their drive and determination to lay the groundwork for a solid career. Regular mortgage advisor roles are typically suitable for people with a suitable mortgage qualification, holding current CAS and experience of mortgage advice. At this point, most companies will deem you suitable and viable to join their business. Alternatively, others enter it from natural career progression. Some mortgage advisors will start out their career as an administrator and build upwards from there. And if you're lucky enough, you may even join a firm where they'll be willing to assist you in paying for your exams and supporting material. Then for senior roles, you'll need to be fully CeMAP qualified with several years of experience and a strong track record of a successful career in mortgage advice. Individuals will usually enter the position after several years in the industry once they've built up a good level of experience. What are some different ways to look for one of these roles? Number 1. Job boards. One obvious way to look for a new job is through the job boards, like Total Jobs, Reed and CV Library. These are all great sites to look for vacancies, and you can sort through vacancies by location, salary and entry requirements to fit your career needs. However, there are other downsides to exclusively using job boards. The main drawback being the lack of response to job applications. Unfortunately, around 15% of job applicants never even get a response for their application. A massive 48% of respondents say that waiting to hear back from employers is highly frustrating. Another fantastic way to look for jobs is through recruitment agencies who work with companies to find appropriate people for their vacancies and work with candidates to find them a suitable position. It is often that companies looking to hire will outsource their recruitment needs to a specialist, meaning that their vacancies can only be accessed through a recruiter, such as Promo Jobs UK. A common misconception that some people say is that recruiters find people for jobs and not jobs for people. However, this is not the case, as the process starts by focusing on understanding your specific wants and needs. From taking time to understand your situation, the specialist recruitment consultant will be in a prime position to identify roles in your area that match your prerequisites. And at Promo Jobs UK, we'll never submit your details to any company without your consent. If you're interested in discussing potential mortgage advisor roles in your area that match your preferences, please feel free to get in touch, as we specialise in the industry. Our contact details will be in the description box below for you. Finally, another way to look for new opportunities is by reaching out to your network, both in person and on your social networking sites, which can be a valuable process as they may have insider knowledge or access to their own network, which could bring up unique opportunities. However, this can be hit and miss and quite time consuming. What is some advice we would give in regards to the application starting with the interview? Interviews for mortgage advisors will usually comprise of competency-based interviews, which are interviews that aim to test your core competencies. They attempt to find out what core skills you have, how you use them, and examples of this in both your career and wider life. Most competency-based interviews will last in or around an hour, but this can vary depending on how the interview has gone, whether that be good or bad, but how many stages the company has in the recruitment process, and how many candidates they are interviewing for the role. The questions will aim to identify and expand on your core competencies, which are described as skills, certifications, knowledge of different software products, or personality traits that make you a desirable candidate. Some examples of competency types are business focus, people focus, personal focus, change focus, analytical focus, and quality focus. On our blog there is a more detailed list under each of these topics. You can expect questions opening with, tell us about a time when you, give an example of, describe how you, and some examples include, describe a situation in which you led a team, give an example of a time you handled conflict in the workplace, how do you maintain good working relationship with your colleagues, tell me about a big decision you've made recently, and how did you go about it? What has been your biggest achievement to date? Again, on the blog equivalent, there are far more examples of questions that you can get thinking in the right way. What is some advice on identifying your own core competencies? Ask yourself a series of questions. How would others describe you? What are you really good at? Why are you good at those things? What are some of your biggest achievements? What was required from you to achieve these? Alongside this, we would suggest you use 3 main tactics for the perfect interview answer. Number 1, tell a story. By using the traditional story arc of the beginning, middle and end, you'll be able to demonstrate the progression of an event that occurred covering the start of the project, problem, task or conflict and following it through to the completion of or resolution. The second tactic is the 5 W's and 1 H method, which is who. Who is it about? Who was involved? What? What happened? What was the outcome? What was the market like? When? When in your career did this happen? When did it take place? Where? Where did it take place? Why? Why did it happen? Why did this situation come around? Why were you a part of this? Why were you involved? How? How did you improve the situation? How were you involved? A lot of detail can be added to an idea when using this method, and it can be flipped to glean information about the company from the interviewers. Finally, and most importantly, is the STAR technique, which is the go-to technique when looking to effectively answer competency-based interview questions. It stands for S for situation, T for task, A for action, and R for result. Start by talking through the situation. Set the scene by using the 5W and H method and using the beginning section of the story arc. Then lay out the task, what it is, when it happened, who is involved, why it came about, where was this. Then work through the actions you took during this time, including how you dealt with the people involved, the time frame, the workload, etc. Honestly and clearly explain the result of the task, linking it back to the question or competency to complete the answer. My personal advice with competency-based interviews would be, firstly, make sure the example is about your involvement. They are interviewing you for the job, talking about what your colleagues have previously achieved isn't what the interviewer wants to hear. Second, be prepared. Competency-based interviews can be overwhelming when having to provide such detailed answers. However, if you're prepared and know your examples well, it will come naturally. Read the interviewer's body language. Sometimes candidates can receive feedback they waffled on. Make sure you read the body language of the interviewer to gauge their interest. Finally, ask if they would like you to expand further. If you feel your answer was too short, check before you move on to the next question. And lastly, to wrap up this section, it's worth noting that as a company, we have curated some materials for our candidates that can use at an interview stage, as shown on screen now. We're happy to provide anyone with these materials, and to gain access, all you have to do is call or email us to register your details. So I know this has been a lengthy video, but I do hope it's been a useful guide to the career of a mortgage advice and has covered all topics and any questions you may have about the role, the industry and other aspects. If you do think of anything you don't feel has been covered or not been covered enough, please feel free to drop your questions in the comment section below. We always try and respond to every comment and we are seeing more and more people help others in the comment section, which is really encouraging to see that community. So if you do have any advice for others, it'd be great to see what you have to say in the comment section. Thanks for taking the time to make it through the whole video. We'd recommend you subscribe to the Primary Jobs UK YouTube channel, because we are often covering topics that will be useful to current and prospective mortgage advisors.